Welcome to episode 25 of a 100-part Rāmānuja Refutation series. Today we are going to look at Bhagavad Gītā 250, Bhagavad Gītā 251, which describe moksha, freedom while alive. Well, these words are become one of the lingas of the Shad-linga, that is phalam, the result. The six lingas, the Shad-linga, help us understand what exactly the scripture is trying to say. What is the commitment of the scripture? As sectarians have a lot of commitment to afterlife promises, it is interesting to see when they comment on a Vedantic work, Bhagavad Gītā, which actually talk about freedom while alive, enlightenment, how the sectarians omit it or twist it. Bhagavad Gītā 250, Buddhi yukto jahati iha ubhe sukrita dushkrute. And in Bhagavad Gītā 251, Bhagavan Krishna says, Janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchanti anamayam. Moksha is presented as freedom from sukrita dushkrita, punya papa, because of which there is birth. And how is it that we are supposed to cross over this bondage of karma, punya papa, taking birth again and again? Is it by doing rituals? Is it by worshipping to a specific deity called Vishnu? So here Bhagavad Gītā itself says, Buddhi yuktaha, being endowed with buddhi. Here buddhi means knowledge. That knowledge which was revealed by Bhagavan Krishna in this chapter, understanding oneself as Brahma. By gaining this understanding alone, one becomes free from samsara, which is here presented as one becomes free from punya papa. And here one key word to be recognized is iha. Bhagavan Krishna says, Buddhi yukto jahati iha. Iha points out here and now, while alive, not after death. If you were paying attention to my previous episodes, what was made clear is that Rāmānuja is committed to proving moksha, that is freedom, after death by the sight of a deity Vishnu in Vaikuntha. Whereas Bhagavan Krishna uses the word iha, here and now in this life, buddhi yuktaha sanna, having gained this knowledge, jahati ubhe sukrita dushkrute, is free from punya papa. Remember, Bhagavan Krishna is not saying Vaikuntham gatva jahati, nor Sri Mahavishnu pashyas ubhe sukrita dushkrute jahati, but he says buddhi yuktaha iha jahati, having gained the knowledge of Brahman, one gives up. One is free from punya papa. So what we understand by this is, knowledge alone gives moksha, and that moksha is jivan mukti, freedom while alive and not after dying and after death travel to Vaikuntha, and not by seeing deity Vishnu. In fact, this result is what is going to be repeated again and again all throughout the Bhagavad Gītā, because Bhagavad Gītā is based on Upanishads, and Upanishads are not committed to talk about any after-death realms, but to talk about freedom here and now, otherwise called enlightenment, which is by gaining the knowledge of oneself. Now, Bhagavan Krishna says, Janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchanti anamayam. All of Vaishnava sectarian commentaries, we see how they have correlated the word padam to mean Vaikuntha. But does it really mean Vaikuntha? Let's see. Bhagavan Krishna says, Buddhi yuktaha iha jahati. And in the previous verse, he says, Janma bandha vinirmuktaha. People who are free from this bondage because of gaining knowledge, they attain that padam where there is no more samsara. And they point out, see, the word gacchanti is used. Gacchanti means going, because they know a little bit Sanskrit. So the root gum is to go, and here gacchanti means they go to that padam. But here they forget that context is not arrived at mere grammatical understanding, but by seeing what has gone by and what is going to come. And here what was said in the previous verse, the continuation is being done, that moksha is being talked about in the two verses, and the word iha was specifically used by Bhagavan Krishna to point out here that moksha is freedom while alive, having gained that knowledge, knowing which one is free from punya papa. Rāmānuja, unable to digest the direct teaching of Bhagavan Krishna, afterlife travel to Vaikuntha as moksha, tries to omit this verse completely in his commentary. In fact, he doesn't even mention the word iha in his commentary. This is not a healthy thing to do. To omit the words of the Shastra which you are unable to handle, and to add extra theological sectarian meanings to verses which don't talk about. This is what Rāmānuja bhāṣya is about. In fact, when people advise me, these are great acharyas of India, they have done so much to Sanatana Dharma, please do your own research. Is this what we expect from a great acharya who omits the words of Bhagavan Krishna just because it's not fitting his Pancharātra definition of moksha? This is not even interpretation, because interpretation has its basis from the original text. But here the main motivation of Rāmānuja to write this is only and only to prove his supremacy over Jagadguru Adi Shankaracharya, but not an actual commitment to the text itself. As Hindus, we should be very clear that our commitment doesn't lie in any famous person who ever lived, nor in his interpretation, but our commitment needs to be how to understand the direct scripture itself. And if someone has committed a mistake, it is a mistake. But still, if you say our sectarian founder Rāmānuja is a great acharya, you cannot question him. Then let me tell you what you are promoting. The whole sectarian Vaishnavism of India is not Sanatana Dharma, it is called narcissism. It is a backward movement which actually promotes narcissism. So they are not helping Sanatana Dharma move forward, taking them behind. Any person born as a Hindu is a Hindu first. But if the claim comes, we are Vaishnava first, and you see them using the word Vaishnavism, then that clearly points out what exactly the problem is and where exactly the problem lies. Let's remember, we don't have any right to train the scripture how it is supposed to talk. Our role as a Hindu is to understand the scripture, what it's trying to say. Any interpretation by a sectarian head which is omitting the words of the Shastra and pushing their own Pancharātric coloring and structure into the Bhagavad Gītā in the name of commentary, which actually is done by Rāmānuja, is a biggest blunder. Even the basics of Shastra being pramana is not understood. The result of understanding Bhagavad Gītā is Jivan Mukti, which is actually the result of Vedanta Shastra, and gaining that is only by Brahma Jnanam. No travel after death, no sight of a deity. Om Tat Sat.